Hi everyone, this is Miss Ramsey. I have another read aloud for you today. This one is called Two of Everything, and this is a Chinese folk tale. Now remember, a folk tale is a story that teaches you a lesson, and it's usually been passed down from generation to generation. Once long ago, in a humble little hut, lived Mr. Hattock and his wife, Mrs. Hattock. They were old and very poor. What little they ate came from their tiny garden. In a lucky year, when the harvest was plentiful, Mr. Hattock had a little extra to give to the village. There he traded turnips, potatoes, and other vegetables for clothing, lamp oil, and fresh seeds. Look at all the different things in the market. This looks like some sort of device they're using to maybe help them figure out how to pay for things or how much things are worth. One spring morning, when Mr. Hattock was digging in his garden, his shovel struck something hard. Puzzled, he dug deeper into the dark ground, until he came upon an ancient pot made of brass. "How odd," Mr. Hattock said to himself, "to think that I have been digging here all these years and have never come upon this pot before. I will take it home. Maybe Mrs. Hattock can find some use for it." Very strange that he came upon this pot in the middle of his field. There he is carrying it home. The pot was big and heavy for old Mr. Hattock. As he stumbled along, his purse, which contained at least 5 gold coins, fell to the ground. He tossed it into the pot for safekeeping and staggered home. His wife greeted him at the door. "Dear husband, what a strange pot!" Mr. Hattock explained how he found the pot. "I wonder what we can do with it," said Mrs. Hattock. "It looks too large to cook in and too small to bathe in. I wonder what they'll use it for." As Miss Hattock leaned over to peer into the pot, her hairpin, the only one she had owned, fell in. She felt around in the pot, and suddenly her eyes grew round with surprise. "Look!" she shouted. "I've pulled out 2 hairpins, exactly alike. 2 purses, too." Sure enough, the purses were identical, and so were the hairpins. Inside each purse were 5 gold coins. Can you make an inference about what this pot does? Now remember, an inference is when you use what you know about other stories and other things you've learned, and you apply it to what the story has just told you. So what can we infer that this pot does? Mr. Hattock was so excited he jumped up and down. "Let's put my winter coat inside the pot. If we are lucky again, the pot will make 2 coats, and then we will both stay warm." So into the pot went 1 coat, and out came 2 coats. They began to search the house and quickly put more things into the magical pot. "If only we had some meat," wished Mr. Hattock, "or fresh fruit, or 1 delicious sweet cake." So it looks like Miss Hattock might be looking around the house to see what she can put into the pot. By now, I think you've guessed that whatever they put into the pot, 2 come out. Miss Hattock smiled. "I know how we can get anything we want," she said. She put her 10 coins into 1 purse. Then she threw it into the pot. She pulled out 2 purses with 10 coins in each. How many coins do they have now? What a clever wife I have, cried Mr. Hattock. Each time we do this, we will have twice as much money as before. The Hattocks worked late into the night, filling and emptying the pot until the floor was covered with coins. I don't know about you, but those are some pretty smart people. I think I would have done the same thing. Let's see what happens next. Morning came, and off went Mr. Hattock with a long list of things to buy in the village. Instead of vegetables, his basket was full of gold coins. Mrs. Hattock finished all of her chores and sat down to enjoy a cup of tea. She sipped her tea and admired the brass pot. Then, with a grateful heart, she knelt and embraced it. She was giving it a hug. Dear pot, I do not know where you came from, but you are my best friend. She stooped over the pot to look inside. Oh no, I sense some trouble about to start. Let's see what happens. At that very moment, Mr. Hattock returned. His arms were so full of packages that he had to kick the door open. Bang! Miss Hattock was so startled that she lost her balance and fell head first into the pot. Oh no! Mr. Hattock ran over and grabbed his wife's legs. He pulled and tugged until she slid out onto the floor. But when he looked at the pot again, he gasped. 2 more legs were sticking straight out of it. Naturally, he took hold of the ankles and pulled. Out came a second person. She looked exactly like his wife. Oh no, maybe this pot isn't such a good thing after all. Oh no, she looks very angry. And this person looks very confused, maybe even a little scared. The new Miss Hattock sat silently on the floor, looking lost. But the first Miss Hattock cried, I am your one and only wife. Put that woman back into the pot right now. Mr. Hattock yelled, No! If I put her back, we will not have 2 women, but 3. 1 wife is enough for me. He backed away from his angry wife and tripped and fell head first into the pot himself. Oh no, this is not good. Oh man! Both Miss Hattocks rushed to rescue him. Each grasped an ankle, and together they pulled him out. There were 2 more legs in the pot, so they pulled out the other Mr. Hattock too. Oh goodness. Just what should I do? Mr. Hattock cried angrily. This pot is not as wonderful as we thought it to be. Now even our troubles are beginning to double. But his wife had been thinking while he was yelling. Calm down, she said. It is good that the other Miss Hattock now has her own Mr. Hattock. Perhaps we will become best friends. After all, we are all so alike. He will be a brother to you and she a sister to me. With our pot, we can make 2 of everything, so there will be plenty to go around. Looks like Miss Hattock is trying to be very positive in a bad situation. See what happens. And that's what they did. The Hattocks built 2 fine new homes. Each house has identical teapots, rice bowls, silk embroideries, and bamboo furniture. From the outside, the houses looked exactly alike, but there was one difference. Hidden in one house was a big brass pot. Of course, the Hattocks were always very careful not to fall into it again. The new Hattocks and the old Hattocks did become good friends. The neighbors thought that the Hattocks had grown so rich that they decided to have 2 of everything, even themselves. The end.